This lesson is about using your calculator to help you solve some trigonometric, solving for theta, basically. Here are some answers from your previous homework assignment, so you can hit pause and check those if you would like. All right, we are going to solve for theta on our calculator. So first of all, I need you to put your calculator in degree mode, and then of course we're going to use the inverse functions on our calculator, the sine -1, cosine -1, those. Your calculator will spit out only one answer. It will only spit out the answer that is in the restricted interval, but you are going to need to find two answers, and I'll explain this in a minute, okay? So first of all, I'm going to make sure my calculator is in degree mode. I will hit the mode key right here. Mine is in degrees. If yours is not, make sure that you highlight that degree and hit enter. All right, here's our first problem. So we need to figure out where is theta 0.4 when I'm trying to find sine, okay? So sine at theta is 0.4. If you use your unit circle, you have no coordinates on your unit circle that have a sine or a y value of 0.4. And so you have no choice but to use your calculator. So you're going to go to your calculator, and you are going to enter this into your calculator, sine -1 of 0.4. And then your calculator will spit out an answer, and I'm going to do that here really quick. So I will go second sine 0.4 and hit enter, and my calculator spits out 23.57 degrees. And this is in degrees because my calculator is in degree mode. If it's in radians, it will spit it out in radian mode. But 23.58 degrees is what my calculator spits out. Please round these to two places for me, two decimal places. 23.58 degrees. However, you need to think about this. That is one spot on your unit circle where your sine or your y value is 0.4. 23.58 degrees is right about here. So this distance is 23.58 degrees. If you think about making your little triangle right here, sine you know is your y value or your opposite. So this is your angle right here. This is your opposite value, your y value, your sine value, that distance. That distance right there happens to be 0.4. But there's another spot on your unit circle that also has where the opposite side or the y value or the sine value is also 0.4. And that happens to be over here where this distance right here is also 0.4. So this distance right here is 0.4. This distance right here is also 0.4. So what needs to happen then is you need to find that other angle. Okay, this is what I want you to notice. This is the y, this is a sine, and we know sine is the y value. And what I want you to notice is that you just flipped that angle over the y-axis. So again, sine is your y value. You flip that angle over the y-axis. So now what has to happen is I need to figure out the other angle. And I know that this distance right here is 23.58 degrees as well. But that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is this angle measured from 0. So I need to know this distance right here, okay? And what I know is this 23.58 degrees that's right there is 23.58 degrees shy of 180. And so I'm going to find the whole distance, this distance right here, by doing 180 minus 23.58. And if I take 180 minus 23.58, I will get 156.42. Okay? So my two answers are 23.58 and 156.42. So when you kind of go to your note sheet, you can, whoops, I don't know what happened there. 156.42 is my other angle. Okay? All right, then I need to figure out where is my cosine value, 0.7. So I go to my calculator and I put in second cosine of 0.7, and my calculator will spit out, oops, I missed the second button somehow. Second cosine of 0.7, and my calculator will spit out 45.57 degrees. So 45.57 degrees Okay, and again I put in cosine -1 of 0.7. That's how I put it in. Okay, I'm going to think about my unit circle here. 45.57 degrees is right about here. Okay, cosine is your x value, so you need to think about where else you would have the same x value. So I'm looking for where else I would have this same distance right here of 0.7. And then think about this also. Cosine is your x value, so you're going to flip that angle over the x-axis. And when I flip that angle over the x-axis, it will end up down here. So this distance is also 45.57 degrees. But I want that angle measured from 0. So I need to measure this distance right here, measured from 0 all the way around the unit circle. And that 45.57 degrees that's down there in quadrant 4, this angle right here, is 45.57 degrees shy of 360. So to figure out that angle measured from 0, I will go 360 minus 45.57, which will give me 314.43. Okay, so that would be my other angle. Okay, because in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 4, the cosine, or the x value, is a positive 0.7, so I need both angles. All right, here's a tangent one. Again, you will put into your calculator tangent -1 of 4. Okay, so I'll go to my calculator. Inverse tangent, or second tangent, of 4. And my calculator gives me 75.96 degrees. So that's my first answer, 75.96. And if I draw that on my unit circle, 75.96 is right about here. Okay. Now, tangent, you know, is your y over your x, or your sine over your cosine, or your opposite over your adjacent. Because tangent is y over x, I need to flip that angle over first my y-axis and then my x-axis. So if I flip it first of all over my y-axis, I will be here. And then I'm going to take that and flip it over my x-axis, and I will be here. Okay? Notice that they end up kind of diagonal from each other. So this angle right here is also 75.96. This angle right here is also 75.96. But this is where I need to end up. Down here is where my second answer will be after I flipped it over the y-axis and then the x-axis. Okay? But I need to measure that distance from 0, so I need to measure from here all the way around. And that 75.96, notice, is attached to the 180 line. It is not attached to the 270 line. It's attached to the 180 line. And it's 75.96 degrees past 180. So I will need to go 180 plus 75.96. And when I do that, I should get 255.96. So that would be my angle that's down there in quadrant 3. All right, a couple more here. Notice this is a secant one, and you don't have an inverse secant on your calculator. So remember that secant is the reciprocal to cosine, and so you need to enter this one in like this, cosine -1 of 1 over -1.5. Okay, so you need to use reciprocals here when you're entering in secant, tangent, and cotangent. Remember, secant is the reciprocal to cosine, so I'm going to go inverse cosine of 1 over -1.5. Notice I left the negative in there. I didn't make it positive, but I just used the reciprocal. Okay, so I will put this into my calculator. And notice my calculator spits out 131.81 degrees. 131.81 degrees. And if I draw that on my picture, I'm going to write this first here. 131.81 degrees. When I draw that on my picture, 131.81 would be right about here. So that distance is 131.81. Okay, secant, again, is the reciprocal to cosine. Cosine's your x value. So to figure out the other angle, you will flip that angle over the x-axis. So you will fold it over the x-axis to find its kind of reciprocal angle, which will end up being right here. So that angle is 131.81 degrees. Okay, but I need to know what this spot is down here measured from 0. So I need to know this distance right here. Okay, this distance. And notice that red 131.81 degrees is attached to the 360 line. So that means it's 131.81 degrees shy of 360. So I will go 360 minus 131.81, and that will give me 228.19 degrees. Okay, and one more. All right, here we're going to enter this into our calculator as second sine of negative 0.8. And when I do that on my calculator, second sine of negative 0.8, oops, that's not working very well, is it? Sorry, I have to clear these off for me quick. All right, second sine, still not working very well, sorry. Second sine, there we go. Let's try this one more time. Second sine, there we go, of negative 0.8 gives me negative 53.13 degrees. So that's down here. Your calculator will spit out negative 53.13 degrees, so right about there. But here's the problem. I do not want any angles in negative form. So I don't want you to call that angle negative 53.13 degrees. I want you to figure out what that angle is in positive form. So this angle right here in positive form would be 360 minus 53.13 degrees, which would be 306.87 degrees. Okay, so that's one answer. Negative 53.13 and 306.87 are the same answer. So don't count both of those as separate answers and think you have both answers, okay? All right, then the other spot, this is a sine angle, and so because it's sine, you will flip it over the y-axis, and when you flip that angle over the y-axis, you'll end up over here. This also, again, is 53.13 degrees right here because it's symmetric. But you need that spot measured from 0, so I need this distance right here, all the way around the unit circle. And if I measure that from 0, then I will need to go 180 plus 53.13, because that 53.13 is past 180, and I will get 233.13. And that would be my other answer. Okay, and that should do it for this lesson.